Viewers, welcome to another edition of JavaScript tutorials for beginners. My name remains Vincent Hope, your instructor. Today we're going to be talking about two things in this lesson tutorial, which is our fourth recording. We're going to be talking about JavaScript data types. And if we go down, we're also going to be talking about JavaScript functions. So let's jump right into it. Now we want to first understand how JavaScript has different types of data in JavaScript. So JavaScript supports 8 data types. The first is string, which means text, numbers, big integer, and I give an example here. This is about 9 trillion, if not more, 9222377, the rest of it. This is a big, very large integer. JavaScript also supports Boolean. Boolean is true or false. It also supports undefined, which is a variable with no value. It also supports null, which is 0. It also supports symbols and objects, which are containers for properties or methods, e.g., array, dates, etc. Now let's go into it. If we scroll down, we take an example for numbers. It says length equals to 16. So the length is 16. The weight is 7.5. So telling you that JavaScript supports numbers. For strings, you can say let color equals to yellow. Now, the color is yellow. That means this is a text information. Last name here is Johnson. This is also text. Now, for Booleans, we just go down. This is Boolean. X is equals to true, and Y can be false. That is for Boolean. Then object. For object, you see this constant, person. The most important thing is the constant. This and key attribute here can change. Then person is first name. It has a key and a name. First name is John, and last name is Doe. Then Boolean, JavaScript also supports arrays. Under the symbols and objects, we have arrays. Constant cars, we have Saab, Volvo, and BMW. This is an array. This is how an array format is. So let's make progress. It also supports date object, constant. You can see these functions here: constant, date equals to new date, and it puts the date format, and that is it. So now let's make progress. Now, starting with JavaScript variables can hold any type of data. Now let's look at it. We'll be putting the JavaScript in red color. So HTML, body, JavaScript, and the rest. Now this is the code for the JavaScript. Script let x is equals to 16 plus 5 plus Volvo. Now if you notice, this x contains numbers. It also contains text. That is how JavaScript can hold both numbers and text. Now it says document.getElementDemo in HTML X. Now let's find how this works out. If we click here and we double click data types here, this is the output. Let me bring it in the recording screen and bring it down. Okay, now this is the output 21. Now let's examine the code. Right click this. Let's right click it, edit with Notepad++. Okay, it's coming out. Let me bring this down a bit. Okay, now look at the code here. Okay, now this is the code. This is the one when adding a number of string. This is the text message here. Now what we're interested in is this script here. Now you say let x 16 plus 5 plus value, Volvo. Now if you notice, the output gives us 21, means that 16 plus 5 was added to get 21, and it also added the Volvo. That's how JavaScript sees numbers. Now let's take another example so that you can see a different scenario. Let's go to 5.1 here, JavaScript 5.11. Double click this. Okay, let's see the output. 5.11. Okay, that's not what I was looking for. Let me go to this one, 5.2 here. Okay, fine. This is what I'm looking for. Now this 5.2. Now let's see what the code behind this. Now right click here, and I click edit with Notepad++. Now look at the difference. Now let me pick it closer. Now look at the JavaScript. Now let X equal to Volvo. Now in the previous one we had that let me see if I can bring it up. Okay, we had that the number was before the text. Now, and it added it to 21, but this one is different. Now you see that the number here, the text is before the number, and it did not add it up because it is recognizing the number here as text. So it's taking them together. That's why it did not add it up. But in the previous one, let's open it up, which is 5.11 here. Double click it here. Edit with Notepad++. If you notice, 16 plus 5 plus Volvo is what was there. And if you run the code, you run it, you discover it is 21. So that's how JavaScript handles numbers and text in the same variable. Now let's make progress. Now, so we've seen that here. So let's make progress. Now, the second point we need to note is that JavaScript, or the third point is that JavaScript types are dynamic. What does that mean? This means that the same variable can be used to hold different data types. Now, this is the script, JavaScript types, all these ones are paragraphs. Now, let's come to the script, which we say we'll put in red. Now, this is the script. Say let X. X was not given any value. So X is undefined. That's what you mean by undefined, no value for it. You now have X equals to 5. Now X is a number, which is 5. Now X is equals to John. Now X is a string. So you can see that X is undefined here. X is 5, which is a number. X is also a string. Now if you generate the output for this, to get the output for this, if we run the code, that is the 5.11 we were looking for, that we used initially, you can see it says JavaScript types are dynamic John. Why did it get John? Let me open the code. If I bring out the code here, right click it, edit with Notepad++. Now the code, because the last text here was John. So the output, when you say get inner HTML X, the output had to be John because the lat code. So it took undefined, which is this. It took the text, it also took the string, but it finally displayed the string value. Now let's make progress. Now, the fourth point is that JavaScript is about JavaScript strings. A string is a text, or a text string is a series of characters like John Doe or any name you decide to put. Strings are written in quotes. If you notice that this is a quote here, these two quotes, this and this. You can also use single or double quotes. Now let's look at this code here. These are all paragraph normal HTML codes. Now let's come to the script, which is where the JavaScript is. Let's come to it. Now this is the script starts from here. Say let car name 1 equals to Tesla S series. Now this is in double quotes if you don't see it. Then let car name 2 equals to Tesla series. This is a single quote. Then the document.html inner any HTML. Now car name 1, which is Tesla X series, plus this is a break code for break, to give a space to break it, to make the next text come to the next line. Then car name 2. This is car name 2, which is Tesla S series, and the script. So let's see this, the output for this in coding. So, which is 5.3 data type string. Double click it. Now, see Tesla X series is the output Tesla S series. Now let's look at the input again from the code. Right click it, edit with Notepad++. Okay, so look at it here now. I say let car name be Tesla X series, which is this. Then let car name 2 be Tesla, which is this. Then the output car name 1 plus the break, which is makes it come to the next line, plus car name 2. So that's the code to generate this. Now let's make progress. If we come down here, so how do we use big integers? Almost the same thing. JavaScript big integer. The script, the HTML coding remains the same. HTML body, head tag, paragraph tag. Now we are always interested in the script because we are dealing with JavaScript. So let x be big integer. You define the big integer in the brackets, and you put a inverted comma. This is the big integer. Then document.inner HTML x. Then you generate the output. So let's see how this comes out. Data type big integer. I double click this. Now this is the output. Let me come there. Right click it and become edit with Notepad++. So let x a big integer. This, look at it here, document.get in x. So this is what was displayed here, 1 2 3 4 5 6 and the rest of it. Now let's make progress. Okay, now we come to JavaScript arrays. JavaScript arrays are written with square brackets. Note that array items are separated by commas. Now the HTML text remains the same, so let's look for the JavaScript. So this is the JavaScript code. Script constant. This is, you need to note this. This is we are trying to introduce a function here. Constant, or trying to introduce the array here. Constant cars equals to Saab, Volvo, BMW. Document.getElement by ID. You can see that this code, document.getElement by ID demo, which is the class defined here, .inner is a constant code to display the JavaScript output. So you must note that. Now the cars, which is this constant cars, you can change it. You can be X, it can be B, it can be A, it can be any variable. But here we're using cars. Now let's see what comes out of it. Let's run the code. Now JavaScript.array, we double click it. This is it, Saab, Volvo, BMW. Now let's open the code so that we see that it's the same thing we just looked at. We bring it down. Okay, so we bring it down. You see that constant cars, it's Saab, which is this, Volvo, and BMW, which is the same thing that is here. So that's how to deal with JavaScript arrays. Now let's make progress. Now we talk about objects, JavaScript objects. All these things you're talking about is how to use JavaScript in different ways. Now JavaScript objects are written in curly braces. This is a curly brace. Let me bold it. Okay, a curly brace. Objects properties are written as name value pairs. It's true, name value pairs separated by commas. Let's look at this script here. Now, first thing we said is that, let's go back. We said JavaScript objects are written in curly braces. The opening curly brace starts here. You see it? This one here. Then the closing curly brace starts, see it here. Then the next thing that we said was that JavaScript properties are written in name value pairs. What's the name? We start with constant, person, you open the open bracket, name, you put column, then the value, name value pairs. First, last name, Cossack, name value pairs, age. So each object has a name and a value. That's important to note when dealing with objects. Now, I column. Now, you get the document by ID, which is a constant term, Now you have person, which is the constant here, person dot first name, the first name plus the first name here will be John plus John. It means it will be John plus is, just John is plus person's age is 75 years old. Now let's look at the output for the object. Output. Okay, you see John is 75 years old. Let's bring out the code. Right click it and bring out the code, edit with Notepad++. Okay, see it here. Now person dot first name, which is John, is person's age 75 years old. Now if I can decide to change this, let me just change this now to last name so that we can see the effect. Last name. Okay, let's double here. Now last name. I save it. Okay, and I refresh this. You can see now it has changed. Kusak is 75 years old, which was the same thing that was here in the code. We have changed it from first name to last name. So that's how we work with objects in JavaScript. Now let's make progress from there. Now we go to empty values. An empty string has both a legal value and a type. Now the same code here, bring it down. Let's come to the JavaScript. So let car be inverted comma in between. There is nothing. I can decide to put 7 or y, or 6 or any number, but I decide there's nothing in between here, so it's an empty value. So document.id inner HTML. So the value is car, which is this string will be displayed, plus this type is plus type of car. Now the car is no value. So let's see it in, if we have empty value, okay, we double click it. The value is, you see there is no value here, nothing given. If I bring out the JavaScript code, right click it, I put edit with Notepad++. Okay, you see here it says the value is no function plus what? Car, because car is empty. If I decide to put here Tesla, okay, and I save it and I refresh it, you can see the value is Tesla. You see that? Where is the code? Bring out the code back. So we're talking about null values, so I remove the value. It does not show anything. I save it and I refresh it. The value disappears. Now let's make progress. Go down. Now we are done with JavaScript data types. Now let's deal briefly with JavaScript functions. Now, examples. A JavaScript function is a block of code. This is important. Block of code designed to perform a particular task. A JavaScript function is executed when something invokes or calls it. Now let's go down. The code remains the same for the HTML. So we'll focus our attention on the scripts. This is JavaScript. So function, because we're starting with function, this is function. My function, this my function can be anything. It can be value, it can be, you can call it any name you like hold or house, anything. It doesn't have to be my function. Now the my function, parameter 1, parameter 2, which are just any values you can use there. Then you say return P1 times P2. So if I use A and B here, I will say return A times B. Now I say let the result of my function, which is the function, equals to 4, 3. That means it's supposed to multiply these two, which is returns here. Document get element by ID, then print the result, because the results, let result be this. So now let's look at the code of that function. 6.1 function, we double click it. Now, so what did we get here? 12. So how did we arrive at 12? Let's go back to the code, right click it and edit with Notepad++. Okay, so look at it now. So it's 4, where is 4 times 3? 4 times 3 is equal to the result here. 4 times 3 is equal to the result. So if we decide to change these values here, if I make this 9, for example, and I save it and I refresh it, it will become 27. 27. 27. So my function, so if I decide to change this one to b function, for example, that means I must also come here and make this also what? B function. So like I said, it can be any name. And I save it and I change this one here to 10 and I save it and I run it. It gives me 30. So the name here can change. It can be any name. It can be any name. So that's what you need to understand. Now let's make progress. Then we go to what? Some other things about function. A JavaScript function is defined by function keyword, which is what we just said here. The function keyword. This is the function. You start with a function, then give it any name here, followed by a name, which is this name, followed by a parenthesis. This is the parenthesis here. You see it here, this bracket. Functions names can contain letters, digits, underscores, and dollar signs. Same rules for as variables. Now, let's make progress. It said the parentheses may include parameter names separated by commas, which is what we did here. Let's go back. You can see the parameter name here, P1, P2. That's the parameters. Now let's make progress here. Then function, the code to be executed by the function is placed inside the curly braces or curly brackets. What's the code to be executed? See the curly braces here, starts from here and ends here. So the code to be executed is actually this return P1 asterisk P2. Now let's make progress. Then we said what? The function parameters are listed inside the parentheses in the function definition. The function parameters are listed inside the parentheses. Where is the parentheses? Here. These are the parameters. So the function parameters are listed here. Then, if we make progress, the function arguments are the values received by the function when it is invoked. So what are those values? In this equation, in this coding here, the values here are 4 and 3. 4 and 3. Now let's make progress. Then when JavaScript reaches the return statement, the function will stop executing. Where is the return statement? This is the return statement here. So return P1 time asterisk P2. So if you put the plus sign here, it will add it. If you put the minus sign, it will add. So, but what is important, it is going to stop the function here. So those are about JavaScript function. Then finally, we have one more. So we'll deal with also the operator. Now the operator invokes or calls the function, the operator. Now the code remains the same, doc type, blah, blah, blah. Now let's come back to the script because we are dealing with JavaScript. Now function to Celsius, no, function to Celsius is the function now because functions was used to set this as a function. F, open the curly brackets or braces, then return 5 times divided by 9 times F minus 32. Now what is F? Let the value of to Celsius, which is F, be 77. So let's work this out. 77 minus 32, you will get 45. 45 divided by 9 is 5. 5 times 5 will give you 25. So let's see how that code is executed. So the operators will double click this. Sorry. So this is the output. Let's look at the code behind it. Right click it. Okay. This is the code behind it. So you see the same thing we just talked about. Function to Celsius, F. Where is the F? The F is set 77. So F minus 32 which is 77 minus 32 is 45. By the time you say 5 divide 5 over 9 times 45, you will get an output of 25. So let's make progress. Now, functions are used as variables values. What does that mean? Functions can be used the same way you use variables in all types of formulas, assignments, and calculations. Now let's go down. Okay, so what is the script? Let text equals to the temperature is, JavaScript recognizes, plus to Celsius. Now, to Celsius is supposed to be a function, but here is used as a variable, plus Celsius. Document.getID, the text which was defined here, function to Celsius Fahrenheit, then return 5 divided by 9 Fahrenheit. Remember here was F before 9 is Fahrenheit minus 32. The output here is 25. The output here was 25. So let's see the output here. Now if we go down, we have functions as variable. We double click it. So you see the temperature is 25 Celsius. Let's bring out the code. Right click it. Edit with Notepad++. Now you see that. Now let text be temperature is to Celsius, which is the function, and which is defined here. That's why you have 25. So the temperature is 25 plus Celsius. So you have seen how JavaScript functions. So that is what we'll do. That's how we'll deal with data types and functions. So in this lesson, we have dealt with JavaScript functions, and we have also dealt with JavaScript data types. JavaScript data types. Okay? JavaScript data types.